What up, what up? And we're back with another episode of Countable Sports.
We're ready.
Ready? We're doing the prediction of the Bills' 53-man roster.
Which is important because there's so many like little roster spots that I can see change or be added or lost.
Like doing this and breaking it down, it was like, okay, I want to keep this. Or like, it was almost like, I don't know. It was fun building a team.
Yeah, it is. And then like not only that, and like there's some like questionable like roster spots that you wouldn't question previous years that they were questioning now, especially now that like
our roster's
with the
getting
practice. Better. Yeah, our roster's getting better. The practice squad where it doesn't matter, like for those spots, it doesn't matter how many years they've played in the NFL. But those veteran players that you question whether to not be on your team or not could be cut and be put on this practice squad if they clear waivers.
If they clear the waivers and then just throw them on the practice squad, just because, like you said, you have those 4 spots now that it doesn't matter how many years
it makes a huge difference.
Eligibility. That's huge. Yeah. Like going forward, players might vote to try to have that in the next CBA
I would not be surprised.
Like that many years more into the NFL, so then your pension's bigger.
Your pension's bigger, just
like
anything.
That. Yeah.
And really, I can't see why a practice squad couldn't add 4 more players.
Right? Especially if they're going to the more games. Like, don't you want all the players, like...
pending injuries, everything. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if this becomes a new thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, let's get right into it. Let's get the easiest one out of the way. Quarterbacks, yeah. So, early on...
based on this list, just for our listeners, Andrew and I put together a list that we're pretty much... like what we're going off of, like this is what we think.
Yep.
Him and I have a couple ideas that we're thinking a little bit different for our roster spots, but that's what we're going to go off of.
Yep. And then we'll judge it versus what the Bills do instead of like kind of like going against each other like we normally do.
Yeah.
So it'll be like us versus the Bills, like Brandon Beane essentially.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Are we thinking how Brandon Beane is thinking?
Mm-hmm.
So starting it off, easiest position, quarterback. Early on, I think there was a lot of talk when we drafted Jake Fromm, like, oh, he's going to push Matt Barkley. He's going to possibly take over backup quarterback because at the time, we thought we were getting rookie minicamps. Yeah. We thought we were getting OTAs. We thought we were getting 4 preseason games. We didn't.
I actually think that without the preseason games, saves Jake Fromm to being on our team.
Yes. So we have Josh Allen, obviously, QB1. In Matt Barkley, and those are the only 2 players that we have us keeping. And then Jake Fromm going on to the practice squad, to your point.
Right. So I think he goes on our practice squad pending any injuries towards Josh Allen or Matt Barkley.
Yep.
And just stays on that. Because, like, he was a late 5th-round draft pick. I can't, like, if we call him, he has to be put on a 53-man roster. So the team has to clear a room spot or a spot for him to make the team.
Yep.
Could they do it? Sure.
Right.
But they could have drafted him before 5th round.
Yeah, they could have spent the draft capital and no one did. 32 teams passed on him for 4 rounds.
Yeah. 4+ rounds.
Yeah, 4+ rounds. So, like we were talking off air, like who could pick him up? And we brought up the Steelers possibly. You got aging Ben Roethlisberger coming off of elbow surgery. You got Duck Hodges who is not the answer after Ben Roethlisberger.
You guys all saw what the Buffalo Bills did to him. I mean, that's a top-rated defense. Like, if you think that, like, he's going to improve enough to do what he didn't do last time,
And then you got Mason Rudolph, who just hasn't shown anything. He lost out. He lost the competition to Duck Hodges.
Right.
So
the only other thing I was kind of thinking about was, like, don't the Seahawks have Geno Smith as their backup?
I think they do, yes.
Like, I wouldn't be surprised if, like, maybe, but again...
It's a different type of quarterback.
Yeah, but I don't see it happening. I see us cutting him. I see us put on our practice squad, and then him just training enough to be Matt Barkley's replacement come next year.
Yep, absolutely.
Because I don't see us keeping Josh Allen, Matt Barkley, and Jake Fromm, and then having, like, I think his name is Davis Webb as a practice squad. Like, I see us... keeping a practice squad quarterback.
Yeah. And I think it's going to be Jake Fromm
over Davis Webb. Yeah.
Yep. So, did you want to tackle running backs?
I think this is even easier.
That's true.
I
mean, there was a toss-up.
There was a toss-up because I'm like, Jones.
Yeah.
But I think Jones makes the team because of special teams.
Yep, special teams. Or like you could have gone 5 running backs. Like we went 4 running backs.
Four tailbacks, running backs,
whatever. But we went 4, and it was like, oh, we could have gone 5, keeping TJ Yeldon, but we didn't. So
So first one, easy one, Singletary. I think he's our starter.
Yep.
You and I think the same thing with Moss.
Yep.
You and I are big Moss fans.
Mm-hmm.
I actually think Moss actually surpasses Singletary. Call us crazy.
Yeah.
But I think Moss is going to start off at the number 2.
Yep.
And then the third one is
Taiwan Jones.
Just because of special teams.
Yep.
And then their fourth one, I want to let you lead this off.
Okay. So the fourth one, I have it being Gilliam. So it's like halfback or the fullback.
But they've been putting everything in the running back position.
I have it as Gilliam. You save, I think it was $1.5 million by cutting DeMarco, and people are like, "Oh, DeMarco's a special teams captain." You brought in Taiwan Jones, who's a special teams captain. Can be.
Yeah.
You have Dean Marlowe, who's a special teams captain. Can be. You have, there is one more, and Tyler Matakevich. Led the NFL in special teams tackles. Can be a special teams captain.
Right.
How many special teams captains you need on your roster?
Yeah, and not only that, Sonora's
Perry.
Neal.
Oh, Saran Neal.
Saran Neal's been a hell of a special teams.
Yeah. So that's 4.
Yeah. For the last 2 years,
Yep.
why can't he be a captain for that?
Yep.
Like to keep DeMarco because he's a good blocker for special teams. I don't see it happening.
Yeah, and Gilliam gives you more on the offensive side of the ball. He's still a good fullback, but he also runs good routes. He could be like a Larry Centers possibly.
But DeMarco never makes me happy that he's a fullback.
No.
Never makes an incredible block.
Nope.
He's just there.
Yeah.
Makes the block.
Yeah.
Like if we're gonna pay that much, you might as well just put Gilliam there.
Yep.
And that's what you and I have thought.
Yeah.
It's an excellent idea.
Go with the young guy. See what you got. I mean,
DeMarco's 32?
Yeah, he's gonna walk at the end of this year anyway. So let's just get it over with.
Yeah.
So tight ends, I have them keeping 3, and it's an interesting 3.
I have 3 as well.
Yeah.
Easiest one,
Knox.
Dawson Knox.
Yeah.
The Juggernauts.
Yeah, the Juggernauts. And then number 2 is even
Easier.
Tyler Kroft.
We kind of contemplated like whether or not they're going to trade off air.
Yeah.
Like whether or not they're going to trade him or cut him this offseason.
Yeah.
I mean,
you save money, but I mean,
I think he's a solid number 2. I think we're paying a little bit too much for him, but maybe next offseason Brandon Beane does what
Brandon B does. Yeah, restructures.
Restructures it.
Yeah, and then I have them keeping Kroom. That is only because Sweeney has not practiced at all during training camp.
Which we're putting him on our practice squad.
Yeah, as long as he's off the pup. I don't know how that works.
Yeah.
Like if you can be on the practice squad and the pup, or if you have to come off the pup to be on the practice squad. Not really too sure what's going on with that.
Well,
foot.
regardless with that pup, he's not on their active roster.
Right, he's not on the active roster. He will be on the Bills roster in some fashion, whether he's on the pup, the practice squad.
Yeah.
Or if he's
but
healthy
we like
enough.
him too much to not be on our team.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then my third one is Kroom, like I said. And my biggest thing is Lee Smith. It's like, oh, he's a blocker, though. Okay, you have your 2 top starting tight ends. You're telling me that they can't block well enough to supplant a third tight end that's aging? That means that you don't have starting quality tight ends in the NFL, and you need to move on from Knox and Kroft if that's your argument for keeping Lee Smith.
My argument is that exact. I know that you make an excellent point.
Right.
I know Kroom did well a few years ago.
Yeah.
He dates Pagula's daughter. That's not my point, but he does.
Right. He gives you the playmaking.
But he doesn't, like, Knox and Kroft are going to be my 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Like, and I understand that they should be blocking. Red zone situations, I want those 2 guys out there.
Yeah.
I get that. But there are a lot of times that I want to put that third tight end out there, and Kroom just not. I don't know.
I'm fine with it being Kroom
because
if we have 3 tight ends out
To
there.
me, like, if I'm in a pass catching down, he is not out there. Like Lee Smith.
Right.
Like, if I'm in a 2 tight end set, I want Smith out there versus Kroft for a nice blocking situation. He can still go out and catch the ball. Is he great at it? No. He does his stupid false starts once in a while, which he always does. Holding, yes, I get that. But he is still a good blocker. We're still paying him. I understand that if we cut him, like, he could, like, that was one that we kind of talked about. We could cut him and put him on that that 4-man roster spot.
Yep.
But
Which I could see him doing that.
I can see them do it. But
And
he's
then carrying-
also our backup, I know it sounds foolish, long snapper.
See,
Which-
I didn't know that when I was making this list.
Yeah. Which, so I think he weirdly makes a team because of all that. And I think Crew makes our practice squad. That's like one of our big differences.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's Kroom versus Lee Smith, essentially. And, like, last year the Bills had, like, the top 5 highest paid tight end room. And we did not have top 5 tight
That's
end
because
talent.
we overpaid for Croft.
Right. And but also part of that is Lee Smith's contract.
Yeah, that too. I still to this day, that is like, what did Bean or McDermott sign that?
Bean did.
Bean did?
Yeah. It was last year.
No, it wasn't. It was a few years ago.
Lee Smith was last year. We brought him in last year.
It was last year?
Yep. 2-year contract. Yeah. It's rough.
That's rough.
So yeah.
If that's Bean's worst decision so far, I'm okay with it.
Well, that and punter. Punter seems to be his kryptonite.
You can't find one. I would have kept. No, never mind. I'm not gonna
Right.
do that.
We'll get there. Yeah. We'll get to punters. But yeah, but we're on the same
We're on the same aspect
of keeping 3 tight ends, whereas last year we kept 4.
Yeah.
So
I think it would have been different if Tommy Sweeney was active.
absolutely.
But with him not being active,
Yeah.
I think at this point he's a practice squad player.
Yeah, because I think they're grooming Sweeney to replace Croft and Lee Smith, really, to be your number 2 tight end.
Mm-hmm.
So
I like that.
Yep. And then wide receiver, we're keeping 7 wide receivers because
7.
we went lighter in tight end, so that allowed us to have an extra roster spot for the wide receiver.
And a couple of our wide receivers, like if your tight end is your like runs across the middle, takes that like option, we have wide receivers that can do that exact job.
Yep.
That your tight ends used to be doing that we now can expect our wide receivers to do.
Oh yeah, especially if you spread them out, get them in those 4 wide receiver sets, and then be able to run the ball up the middle because you only got 1 linebacker in there now.
Yeah.
So we got the obvious: Diggs, Brown, Beasley, Andre Roberts for returning.
I know, isn't that sad that we automatically just put Andre Roberts in there? But he has to.
You have to because you don't really have a return guy.
With
otherwise.
us cutting... Oh, sorry. I'm getting ahead of myself. But you and I predicted McKenzie's getting cut.
Yep.
Like, that's why Roberts makes the team.
Yes.
Or stays on the team.
Yeah.
And we paid him, so...
Yeah. And, people made the great argument. He's a Pro Bowl returner 2 years ago. Last year, he was very good. Missed a couple games with a hamstring, so maybe that's why he wasn't a Pro Bowler. Yeah. But, yeah. So you want sure hands back there. He's very sure-handed. Mm-hmm. Isaiah McKenzie was not. Like, at times you had Micah Hyde back there, and I don't want to see that. So
no. Yeah, they pretty much, when Micah Hyde was back there, it was just fair catch.
Yeah, fair catch, put your hand up, don't do anything stupid. Yeah. And then we got Davis and Hodgins.
Let's go.
Yes, the rookies have been outstanding, everything I've heard in training camp.
It's funny because, like, in the beginning, like, we watched our roster thing, like, in the beginning.
Yeah.
Like, I questioned whether Hodgins was going to make our team, only because I thought, like, again, like, why I've talked about Fromm was that with no preseason games, no team's going to really take it. Like, he was drafted in the 7th round.
Yeah.
Like, again, 32 teams passed on him 7 rounds, plus compensatory picks.
Yeah.
Like, why would you risk a roster spot for him? But I think Hodgins is proven.
Yeah, he's proven what he can do.
He can do.
Yeah. And Gabe Davis, every time you turn on highlights of training camp, you see Gabe Davis making spectacular catches, jumping catches. Just today they released a video of Josh Allen throwing a deep ball to Gabe Davis over Tre'Davious White.
Yeah.
That's the hardest competition you will go against this year. I can promise
you
that.
And he faces it every single day in, day out.
Yeah.
That's why it's so important to keep these good cornerbacks. It's not just to make your defense better. It's going to make your wide receivers that much better.
Yes.
It's going to make Josh Allen that much better to make sure that his throwing is in the right spots.
Yep. There's more pinpoint. Yep.
Yeah, like the back shoulder throw. Like, if I'm doing this on Tre'Davious White, you should do that on anyone in the NFL.
Yeah, you can do that on anyone. Tre'Davious White, top 5 corner in the NFL.
I've argued top 2, but top 5. Yeah.
Yeah. So our last wide receiver, so that's 6. Our last wide receiver, I have us keeping Duke Williams. And so that means you're cutting Foster. Foster hasn't really practiced. Had the disappointing year 2 after the okay year 1. Mm-hmm. He just doesn't give you anything that any of these wide receivers. All these wide receivers give you something more than what Foster gives you.
They offer you more.
Yeah.
Like, I think Sean McDermott's lost
faith
in it. Yeah, I go faith.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the other one is Isaiah McKenzie. I'm cutting him.
He makes my practice squad.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. If he wants to
makes it
stay in
because-
Buffalo.
He makes it because he has that return ability in case if Roberts goes down.
Yep.
And he's just an okay wide receiver. He does that nice little run around.
Yeah. And, like, if you're going to argue to me, like, we should keep him because of an end around, I'm going to throw John Brown can do an end around. Andre Roberts, for all I care, can do an end around.
You're an athlete in
Yeah.
making returns. Why can't you do that?
Yeah, why can't you do an end around to be, like,
Yeah.
I throw you the ball and go.
You've done it with just John Brown.
Yeah.
Like, to talk about, like, if previous talks was John Brown was your number one, that's not your option now. Stephon Diggs is.
Right. And
Like,
so John Brown can do your end around.
Yeah, and not be like, oh, well, McKenzie's in the game. End around, guys.
Yeah, right.
You know what
Not
I mean?
be like, yeah.
Where John
showing
Brown
your
now is
hand.
out there, it doesn't show our. Yeah, you're right. It doesn't show us our hand that
Yeah.
we're about to play.
Right. Or Gabe Davis can even do an end around. I mean, what he was considered as a one-trick pony coming out of UCF, only doing fly routes. If you are known for doing fly routes, I'm sure you can do an end around then
Yeah.
with that speed.
Right?
You know, so I got Duke because, and also Duke, you keep size, so you have
That's what I'm saying. Like
you have 3 wide receivers over 6 foot at this point, whereas last year we only had one, and it was Duke.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like that
And
goes.
Diggs plays bigger than what he is.
Oh yeah, he does. That goes back to my previous argument with the tight end with Duke Williams.
Yeah.
Like I can see Duke Williams, like if it's running out in that tight end option, doing those little tight end routes.
Yeah.
I can see Duke Williams doing those exact routes.
Yeah, I could see him coming in motion and then doing like they're not allowed to do it, but like the crackback block
Yeah.
to like wall off the defenders
That's what
and
I'm
then
saying.
doing
I can
sweeps.
see him making a bigger block like that.
Yes.
But again,
Yeah.
we get our points.
Yeah. So we got the 7 wide receivers. So now we're moving into the O line. O line was pretty set.
We were pretty
for
set.
4 out of the 5 just because Feliciano went down.
Yeah.
You got Dawkins, Spain, Morse, Winters, and Ford for your 5.
That's what we're That's what we're thinking our starters.
And don't get me wrong, we're not cutting Feliciano. Feliciano with a torn pec, he's going to go to the IR designated to return is what my assumption is. After week 8, you're going to reassess the line, see who's playing well, see who you can
Right.
cut.
Because there's a couple players on those 1-year deals like Darrell Williams.
Yeah.
Feliciano. Or not Feliciano.
Winters.
Like if Winters comes out and sucks, like what's the point of keeping him?
Right, exactly.
Like, put Feliciano back in, cut Winters.
Yep, and then keep going. So, and then your backups, I have Inseke, Darrell Williams, Bohm, because we got rid of Long.
And he knows
in favor of Bohm.
Right, and we in favor of Bohm because he can do center and guard. Like, thank God that we're finally bringing players in that can do multiple positions. Like Darrell Williams can do guard and tackle.
Yep.
I get that signing.
Yep. And then Ryan Bates is my number 9 offensive line. Ryan Bates can play position left tackle all the way to right tackle.
That's what we pretty much did with him.
Yeah. Last year in the preseason, we brought him in, I think, on a Tuesday or Wednesday, and then Saturday he was playing center for the 2s. So, I mean, that's how intelligent this man is.
Yeah.
So, from your college that you like, Penn State.
Penn State. We finally get someone. Wouldn't mind that linebacker this year.
Oh, my God, yeah, Micah Parsons. That'd be really nice.
Like, we'll trade Matt Malone for him. Sorry,
Yeah, right.
I know. Sorry.
I would.
Yeah.
So that rounds out our offense. So, I mean,
Pretty safe.
just real quick, 2, that's 6, 9, 16, and then math, 25. 25 on offense. So
Which 25 out of your 53?
That's about half.
I mean, if you think about it, 25, and there's 3 special teams, but we're doing a little different. You'll hear about it.
Yeah. So D-line, let's start on D-line. You got Ed Oliver, Vernon Butler, Harrison Phillips, Quentin Jefferson, Jerry Hughes, Mario Addison, AJ Epinesa, and Daryl Johnson.
So you know what name we didn't mention.
Trent Murphy.
Now, prior to this, I have been arguing that Trent Murphy stays on his team.
Mm-hmm.
This is what we call
Big Baller Bean.
boom.
So
This is his move right here.
this is my hot take is so with cutting Trent Murphy, you save $8 million towards the cap. If Trent Murphy wants to come back, he signs a lesser contract. say $2 million guaranteed this year. But for a backup defensive end making $9 million is not really acceptable.
Mm-hmm. And there's not going to be a team
especially for how much you're going to be rotating.
Yeah, and like there's not going to be a team. Call me crazy. That's going to, in my opinion, that's going to go out and try to sign him.
Yeah,
like
I don't see it.
No, I don't.
And like we talked about earlier in this video, you get 4 spots that it doesn't matter how many NFL years you've had in, you can be put on the practice squad, and I think we try to do that. So, and the reason I picked him over Daryl Johnson is essentially because of youth and potential.
And not just potential, in my opinion, Jerry Hughes is one, Mario Addison's the other one.
Yeah.
You have Epinesa rotating in whatever position they want him to do.
Heavily, hopefully.
Yep. And then Daryl Johnson, you and I have been preaching about. It's a solid talent that should go right in there.
Yeah.
And then you got Vernon Butler that knows how to do defensive tackle and defensive end.
Quentin Jefferson. Yep.
Who did the same exact thing with the Seahawks.
Yeah.
Trent Murphy, if your big thing was, you're a better run blocker that has enough potential to enough ability to make some pass rush.
Yeah.
Okay.
Quentin Jefferson
can do that as well for us.
Yep.
And no defensive tackle.
Yep. And Daryl Johnson last year played special teams. Trent Murphy doesn't give you special teams.
So you got to think about those special team players that you want.
So you're going to pay a $9 million backup defensive end who doesn't play special teams. Nope, don't see it. Logic just doesn't. We talked about versatility with O-line, with Bohm playing center and guard.
Right.
There's no versatility with Trent Murphy.
No, it's just your defensive end.
Yep.
And that's why we value
Daryl Johnson and Quentin Jefferson, AJ Epinesa. I mean, there's even been talk.
I was going to say, do that Justin Tuck of the Giants.
You can do.
There's third and long. Okay, fine. We got Mario Addison and Jerry Hughes out there. We'll put down Epinesa
and Jefferson.
Yeah.
And just essentially throw 4 defensive ends at you.
I mean, I would prefer Oliver over Jefferson.
Oh, that's true too. He's really good at pass rush. Okay.
But there's your thing though. We're going to do a heavy rotation.
Yeah.
But those are that's probably the most
athletic. Or even Harrison Phillips.
Yeah, Horrible Harry is not a defensive tackle. You can say he's not athletic.
Yeah. I mean, the pass deflections alone that he gets, when he doesn't get there, he gets the hands up. And last year in the first 2 games, he was killing them in pass deflections.
I was reading a couple articles before this, and people are putting not Jefferson, Vernon Butler ahead of Horrible Harry. I'm like, I think it's just because so many people think that we went out and got those 2 defensive tackles that we're not going to play Horrible Harry. How is he off his knee? Clearly, he's fine.
Yeah,
he's out there playing every day.
Yeah.
There's no reason to think that he should be on a snap count.
Yeah, he's not on a non-contact jersey or anything like that.
Yeah, it hasn't been since day 1 of training camp. So all that discussion out the door.
Yeah.
He's had plenty of time to recover.
Yeah, he got hurt. Lucky for him, he got hurt week 3.
Week 3, yeah.
So it hasn't been a year, but it's been 11 months.
Yeah, and with how fast medical is, or the recovery time now is.
Yeah, he'll be all right. It'll be a little rusty, probably the first real game action, but I think they trot out Vernon Butler as the starter.
You think so?
Yeah,
I don't.
For first down, obvious rundown for the first play, I bet you it's Vernon Butler.
See, to me, I think they play Horrible Harry, but I think Vernon Butler gets more snaps.
Okay.
That's how I see it.
Okay.
Keep your defense, your main core, the same.
Yeah.
And just those heavy rotations. Yeah. I'm still torn is Mario Addison going to trot off the number 1, or is Quentin Jefferson?
Yeah. Right. So I had it a little different. Vernon Butler starting kind of Star was, but Harrison Phillips doing more plays.
Both of them are perfect options.
It could work either way. But so 8 defensive linemen, cutting Trent Murphy, trying to put him on the practice squad, and Mike Love. I mean, I haven't really heard anything about him, how well he's doing. I mean, I feel like that is a bad sign.
I mean, but again, yeah.
And our D-line is so deep now.
Yeah, I didn't get
he's
it,
a forgotten man now.
Yeah.
So, linebackers, 2 or 3 obvious, really. Edmonds, Milano, and then Klein, because we signed him for big money, essentially. 3 years.
I think number 4 is even easier as the special teamer.
Oh, yeah, Tyler Minikevich.
Yeah, those 4 are guaranteed.
Yep. And then it came down to how many linebackers are you keeping, which ones are you keeping, and we kept Voshon Joseph.
We kept 5.
Yeah.
And I think previous years would be talking different, but with how important a nickelback is, how many teams throw the ball.
Yeah.
Your time of out there with having 3 linebackers out there in the defense is getting
It's now
scarce.
often.
It's now we're playing these nickels, these big nickels.
Yep.
Big nickels meaning like a safety. 3 safeties
Yeah.
versus third corner.
Yep.
So that's why the 5 linebackers make sense to me.
Yeah.
Because Voshon Joseph and I can never sign this name, so you're going
Tyler Medikevich.
I want to say Tyler.
Tyler M.
Yeah, Tyler M. Everyone, that's what I'm saying. It's going to be our special teamers.
Yeah.
Plus, we'll know. There should be no reason why both those 2 players don't know every play from strong, middle, and weak to the linebackers.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, Voshon Joseph, I think he's going to be able to back up at all 3 outside linebacker positions. And then Tyler Medikevich, he's going to be mostly special teams. And Klein, I think, is going to be able to back up all 3 all 3 linebacker positions
Plus
start like when you have 3
when
linebackers.
you want to play 3 linebacker sets. Yeah. I agree with that.
Because mostly it's just going to be Edmonds and Milano. They play like 90% of the snaps anyway.
And we play a lot of nickel.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That's why this 5 linebacker position makes sense.
Yeah, so if you think about it, it's two real starters and 3 backups.
Mm-hmm.
Is really what it is.
You're going to see that with every NFL league now.
Yep. And, I mean, the other side to that is, if you're an offensive coordinator, just go 3 or 4 heavy tight ends and give me, Brandon Jacobs type of,
That's what I'm saying. The
running
Titans,
back and,
Titans,
there
should be
just,
no
own.
reason why you shouldn't have, 5 linemen, your fullback, and 2 tight ends, and 2 wide,
and just push.
Call me crazy, I wouldn't even have a fullback.
No?
I would rather play 2 wide receivers, 2 tight ends, 5 line.
And just really spread it out and just go up the middle.
Because you would want to spread that out to get, if I throw it successful with my tight ends and my wide... See, I'm drawing here. You guys aren't even looking. It doesn't matter. Trying to do plays here.
Drawing up a playbook over there.
Up a playbook over here. I could do something where that safety sits out more.
Yep.
And I could be running so many plays up the middle.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, the Titans might, cornerstone the running offense.
I would not be surprised if...
Just because everyone's getting rid of linebackers.
I mean, think about these linebackers. I mean, look at Isaiah Simmons.
Yeah.
That. If we look at the newest linebackers,
yep.
Isaiah Simmons is 220.
Yeah. He's a safety.
He's a safety.
He's a safety in the early 2000s.
Yes.
Yep. Absolutely.
He's not going to come up and stuff a hole. I don't care. If he does, good.
Right.
He's not going to do it consistently.
No.
Because these running backs now are not Derrick Henry.
No. Not at all.
I mean, look at Devin Singletary.
Right.
Zach
Moss. Jonathan Taylor is your more standard running back, but, I mean, it's not often.
No.
J.K. Dobbins and DeAndre Swift are your new ones.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So
we're getting off topic. We do that a lot. So sorry, guys.
We got those 5 linebackers, and then we went 6 cornerbacks just because of what we talked about.
Because then not only do they do nickel positions, but they also do special teams.
Yep.
Got to think about that.
So you got Tre'Davious White, Josh Norman, Levi Wallace, Dane Jackson, our 7th round pick, Teron Johnson, who's our nickel corner, and then Cam Lewis. Because Ike Brown, coming the news today, Ike Brown got put on that reserved retired list.
I was surprised they did it so early.
Yeah.
Why? Unless they just wanted to put it right out there that Cam Lewis is pretty much making the team.
Yeah,
and Ike Brown learned from what Cam Lewis did last year.
Right.
You're gonna do the exact same thing. Learn from the practice squad, become a good special teamers, and learn your place.
Yep. Thanks for your services.
Yeah.
We'll try to keep you on the practice squad, but those are our only 6 corners left on the roster.
Yeah, I know.
So
it pretty much is a sure thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was when we were making this list, it was between Cam Lewis and Ike Brown, and then at 4:00 today, it came out Ike Brown is retired / on a reserve list.
I hate this list name.
Right.
We're gonna call it reserve, but he's gonna keep calling it retired list.
It's reserve / retired list.
I don't get it, but I'm going to reserved.
And then safeties, I kept 5 of them just because I count Saran Neal as a safety, and so does BuffaloBills.com. If you go to the roster, it has an S next to his name. It's S. for Saran. Neal. So his name, he is a safety.
And if you watch the playoff game, He played the big nickel. I know it's weird.
Yeah.
To
He
some
is a
people,
safety.
but he's a safety.
I think he went to Louisiana Lafayette.
I'm gonna call you crazy. I'm gonna call Florida. No, Jackson State.
Oh, that might have been it.
Jackson State.
Jackson State or Louisiana Lafayette.
Jackson
One of the
State.
two.
You
He
can chalk
played
me up
safety.
for a win on that one.
He played safety.
Jackson
He's a
State.
safety.
You know what? We should do a video, pick random players throughout the, I don't know, say 2010 to now, and see if we can name the colleges.
Ooh, that'd be interesting.
That should be a good video.
That would be a good
Like,
video.
loser does some kind of stupid thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next video.
Yeah. That's a good one. I like that one.
Yeah. So we got Poyer, Hyde, obviously, Dean Marlowe, I think is his first name because
That
one
is
special teams.
Yeah.
He knows the offense. McDermott talks to him throughout training camp.
McDermott loves him.
Yes.
Like, I would not be surprised 10 years from now when McDermott's still McDermott for the Buffalo Bills. He comes on to be like a scout.
A scout or defensive coordinator,
Special
like
teams coach.
defensive
Yeah.
back coach.
Like,
something.
everywhere where McDermott goes, Dean Marlowe goes.
Yes. Like Dean Marlowe is going to be on our coaching staff in the next 3 years.
Yeah,
Just
right?
mark it down.
That's our big call right
yeah,
now.
mark it down. 3 years, he's our D-back coach. So, and then rounding out our safeties, Saron Neal and Jaquan Johnson.
Yep.
And then here's where the big...
So if you guys do
our
your
big
math
take
right,
is-
you realize we have 4 spots left.
Yeah, so we're at 49 players after that. So we got 4 spots.
You know, we messed up.
We didn't mess up.
No, we're good. We're good. Sorry.
We didn't mess up.
Can't do math. That's why I'm a nurse.
4 spots left. So you're thinking in the back of your head, you're like, oh, you just need a kicker, a punter, and a long snapper. I have Corey Bojorquez winning the punter job.
So, right. I mean, you just brought this guy in, like, what, last week?
Yeah.
From the Jets?
And the one thing that people aren't talking about, like, it's not just punting. Bojorquez is also the holder.
Yeah. Who's done it now for the last 2 years.
Yeah. So holding is a big thing for kicking. Just ask Tony Romo.
Yeah, right.
Against, I think it was the 49ers.
49ers, I think.
Or
it was.
Seahawks. One of those two. One of those NFC West teams. But it's a big deal. And I think, like, call me crazy. I think that's why Bojorquez has lasted so long, because he is a better holder than these other better punters.
But see, what calls me, like, who's the punter before him? He, like, fought his job out. Like, we
Colton
talked-
Schmidt.
Yeah. Colton Schmidt held just fine, too.
Yes.
And I thought Colton Schmidt was a better punter.
Yes. Bring him back. I don't know. I don't know where he is. But I have Corey Bojorquez, Steven Hauschka, Tyler Bass, and Reed Ferguson as our long snapper, obviously. And you're like, you're keeping 2 kickers? Yes. Because
I know this was a Rex Ryan move, keeping Gay. But this is, but
there's logic behind it.
But there's logic. Yeah.
It's a true kicking competition. No preseason game, so you don't know how Bass is going to do
Right.
until you put him in there. And we don't want him, we've talked about this, pulling a Roberto Aguayo of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah.
Second round drafted kicker, didn't last the season, I don't think, because he was
I
that
think he
bad.
lasted 2 seasons with the Bucks.
2 seasons,
But,
but
I
he
mean,
was bad.
you had to. You draft him in the 2nd or 3rd
Right.
round draft pick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you don't want to be left holding the bag and letting Hauschka go to someone else and Bass not being able to pan out.
I mean, think about the Browns bringing in 3 kickers because they can't find a kicker.
yeah,
Like, we have 2 solid kickers. Now, Hauschka is not Hauschka from 3 years ago.
no,
Can
definitely.
he kick long field goals at a consistent rate? No.
No.
One thing for sure he is, I don't think he's missed like an extra point.
I don't think so either. And we won
How many games did we win last year
because of extra
because
points.
of an extra point?
I think 3: Jets, Giants, Titans.
Titans. Yeah.
Just ask Corey Corey Vedvik, the Vedvik.
Yeah, the Vedvik.
He was the kicker for the Jets. Lost his job after missing all those extra points.
Yeah. Yeah. Talk about a 9-7 season because of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, so, like, I mean, you and I talked about this off air when I was driving home from work yesterday. Like, I could see us keeping Hauschka and, like, trotting out Bass first game. He does well. We're going to see trade offers.
Yes. Absolutely.
Like, we're not going to cut Hauschka for no reason. There's
No.
plenty of teams. I mean, there's so many teams last year that were cutting kickers, signing them. Like,
Yep. The
This-
Titans, I think, cut their kicker after we played them.
yeah, I think so. Like, don't feel like I can see us using like 5th round pick.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Collect the draft picks for Hauschka.
yeah, collect asset.
If Bass succeeds, obviously.
Right. If Bass comes out there and doesn't do as well,
Then you
I can
cut
see
him.
us keeping him still
Good,
or
yeah.
cutting him and going to the practice
Yeah.
squad.
Because if he does bad and you cut him, I don't think a team picks him up. And then you throw him on the practice squad.
You know, I say that, but I did not think that Dustin Hopkins
That's true.
was going to make the team, but he's still a place kicker.
Yes,
So-
he is still a Redskin. We drafted him.
Yeah, but at
I
the time,
told you.
at the time, Dan Carpenter was a solid kicker.
He was.
And then,
Then
right
you
after
don't
Dan,
draft a kicker then.
but then right after Dan Carpenter, we had Hauschka.
Yeah, that's true.
So, well, didn't we draft Jordan Gay?
I don't think so.
That was a signing.
Yeah, I think it was undrafted.
Oh, okay.
Undrafted free agent.
Yeah, we're videotaping. That's my wife. I don't know.
I don't think they could hear.
Yeah.
But this is our 53 man to start the season, possibly through 2 weeks to see if Tyler Bass can win the job from Hauschka.
Mm-hmm.
If he doesn't, you cut him, put him on the practice squad, try to develop him.
And as of right now, Tyler Bass is still beating him out in like every field goal kicking competition,
Except for today.
except for today.
Today, Hauschka went 5 for 5.
Right.
I don't think Bass kicked today. They're like alternating days.
Which again, I don't know. Like I've been a part of practices. Like I played at college football. Like
We both played at college
yeah,
football, yeah.
Excuse me, we both did. Sorry.
Yeah.
But like to me, like why is this kicking competition more than not just 5 field goals? Like,
Yeah, right? Like, to be honest with you, the true competition, Tyler Bass, I know you have a big leg. I know you can kick it out of the end zone. I know you can probably hit a 60-yard field goal if we need it. Can you hit extra points
Consistent.
19 out of 20 times?
Has to be.
Like we were talking about it, like you said, off air when you were driving home. Go treat it like free throws. Go kick extra points. Go kick 30 of them in a practice. Tell me the stats. I'm going to tell you who I'm going to keep after that.
Because it's not like extra point. Like you're starting off with different hash marks. You're starting off with the same mark
Yeah.
each time.
Yes.
Like, and you're kicking it.
Yep.
Handy. Any kind of wind or whatnot, but come on, you're an NFL player now. This
Yeah.
isn't like go out there and kick it.
Mm-hmm.
Like this should be so consistent.
Yep. It should be automatic.
Yeah.
It's a free 1 point or free 1 point, like a free throw.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. 19 out of 20. Like, okay, I could go as low as 18 out of 20, but
Yeah.
I mean, 19 out of 20 should be the realistic goal.
Yeah.
You're an NFL. This is what we're paying you. This is what we expect out of you.
Yep.
Go out
Like,
there and kick a ball.
if you're telling me that Hauschka's coming back 18 to 19 out of 20 and Bass is 14 to 15 out of 20, I'm keeping Hauschka all day.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And it's not even really a
That
competition.
puts Bass into the practice squad.
Yeah.
Hope that he stays there.
Yeah. If they're even in extra points, say they're both hitting 18 out of 20, I'm going with the younger guy who has the bigger leg then.
Yeah.
Like, it really comes, like, in my mind, it really comes down to that is the extra point. Who is more consistent in the extra points?
It does. It does.
Because the field goals, it's a chip shot to where you're going to be. What hash mark? How far? Like, are we comfortable? Like,
Right.
flow of the game. Everything matters for, like, if
And
we're
not
at
just that,
54-yard
like,
field goal.
This year is so weird. Like, I mean, the fans make such an impact
Oh, yeah.
on field goals. Like, we can't get that out of Bass this year.
No.
Like, we cannot evaluate, which to me and you,
Yeah.
like, I think is the toughest thing. That's something we could have seen in preseason.
Yeah, we talked about it. Like, you could almost keep Bass just because he won't have the pressures of being a rookie kicker in the NFL
Right.
because he won't have 70,000 Bills Mafia screaming at him.
Yeah. Exactly.
It could be easier on him.
I mean, think about this, like Bass playing his first game, primetime game in Thanksgiving at AT&T Stadium.
Yeah.
Like,
And you think he's going to perform? Probably not. Hauschka did, and we won that game.
well, how should I miss a couple good kicks?
He did. He did, inside too.
Yeah, I know.
But
And a
playoff
goal.
game, Hauschka hits the game tying field goal
Yeah.
that sent us into overtime.
Overtime. Yeah.
So, I mean, that's our 53. We kept 4 kickers, 7 wide receivers, so only 3 tight ends.
Yeah. We caught a draft pick.
Yep.
Could potentially cut 2.
Yeah. So, let us know what you think. Follow us, like us, comment. Like me, please. See you later, guys.
See you guys.